but it really started one day when the person who was the president of Tobin Hill Neighborhood Association, I think they have a community association or something, noticing something happening, that houses were being bought. It's Ralph Medina. He's actually was a fire chief, great guy, and so he came over. We went and met with some other people in the neighborhood, just 2 people, and we said, there's something going on here, and we didn't know what it was. So Ralph said, no, there's something going on. So we said, okay, well, we need to figure it out. So then we started finding out that a lot of the parishioners who were paying the most $100 rent for homes like the ones around here were getting displaced. And we had dealt with displacement before that from another area of our neighborhood. So we got like, oh no, this can't be happening. So we put together a coordinating committee. And the coordinating committee consisted of Tobin Hill, Monte Vista, River Road, and the Conservation Society, and Our Lady of Sorrows. And so we started meeting. And so we started meeting over at the church with Monsignor Wangler was the priest at the time. And so then we started like finding out what was going on. And we found out that a developer was actually had a plan, and the plan was to buy up a lot of properties, and and there were some renderings that we were presented when we finally found out who the developer was, and they were beautiful office tower buildings. Well, so then we started trying to figure out what we would do. So we realized that as a group, we really didn't have the organizational skills to deal with this developer, and who turned out to be a family friend of mine. And so we got a hold of cops. And so then we started negotiating with the developer. And it would be great if we had video of that, because she told us certain things that we had to do, so we had to have like a tape recorder. So I had one, my son was like 3 years old, so we had the Fisher-Price recorder with the green, yellow, and red. We put that in the middle of the table. We were being really, proactive, and that was hilarious. Anyway, and so we negotiated. We negotiated, and what we realized, so then we talked, of course, to our council person, who was Maria Witte-Howell, and so there was a road, Magnolia, that went through, and so we found out that we needed everybody on the block, and there was one house left, to agree to the road being closed for the developer. And then we negotiated land to do housing for those people that were going to be displaced from because of the church, and because most of them were parishioners of the church, and if not, they were members of this community, and so then we negotiated. So then in fact, I was the one that was to find out who owned that property and meet with them, and so that was the Gonzalez family, Frank Gonzalez family, and that was their home, and it was the only one left there. So so I did that part, and Mrs. Gonzalez had moved into this neighborhood over here on Dewberry or Mistletoe, and so I contacted her, and then we got the developer and she together, and so then they negotiated him buying that property. In the meantime, the councilwoman negotiated the amount of land that was in the street to be senior housing. And that's when we got into the senior housing component of it, and that was eventually Kings Court housing. And so then we contacted Gordon Hartman, and he actually built those fourplexes over there. It was great. It was an incredible development. To have that housing was amazing, and for those folks to be able, if they wanted to live there, was really just a real plus. And so, but it was a very sad thing, because there were so many great houses that people were able to live in affordably, and when that changed, then things changed, of course. I don't know the exact number of the houses that were removed, but it was at least 40, maybe more. Okay. But it was at least 40, because it was, and it happened piece by piece. It was just really, and they actually used someone from the neighborhood to help them, which I didn't find out till later. We didn't know, because it was kind of a new thing. I mean, we just were so surprised it was happening that we just wanted to rescue those people that were going to be displaced. That's how we came up with the idea of the senior housing, because they were mostly elderly, and we're renting at a really affordable rate. but the church, we were concerned about the church. We were concerned that we didn't want the archdiocese to think that this was going to be a plundered area, that we wanted it to stay. We want that church to stay. We still want that church to stay. And we were really wanting the people to not have to move to lower their attendance or their parishioners. Right. That was a big thing for us. I think about that a lot. I mean, it motivates me a lot because it showed you the power of the neighborhoods to be able to make an enormous change, and working with your city council. That's a thing that people don't know, is how much they can make a difference, I believe. They say, oh, they're doing that to us. No. You know, we're the city, and we are able to make differences. And so that's what stays with me, and so I still do a whole lot of work. Because this could have just been done, and nobody would have known any difference. But because we shed light on it, and because we went and organized and got, you know, people to negotiate, that was what we and it's a balance, you know, you have to, I think anyway, but I think it's important, really important for people to do. Yeah. So that's what the influence on me was. And now I come from families like that anyway, that have done things like this for a long, you know, time, generations. So I had seen losses and failures, you know, and heard them and not understood them necessarily, but it gives me a lot of confidence to be able to make differences. And then when you lose, well, then you lose. But there's, I think, outcomes from even losing that you can negotiate, that can make things better. But I think that we forget that because we're so, I know I have been in situations where I was so hard wired to win, and then I didn't realize that there are these things afterwards that can be done during the, it's never over, I guess is what I'm saying.